Okay, so hopefully a few more people join in a few minutes, but welcome everybody to the Grants Committee call number 1. Today we are going to basically announce the Matchbox grants program and walk you through all the details, all the processes that are attached to it, how we organize things, and what it actually is and what we do. So, just a quick recap, what is Matchbox DAO? I think we all know this. I don't think I have to go too in-depth about it, but basically we create technical infrastructure, we produce written content, we engage in discourse, we provide grants and mentorship, allowing contributors to create on-chain games without financial concerns or contractual obligations. And so let's talk about the grants program and the details. So the Matchbox grants program is a 3 to 6 month curriculum in which individual developers receive a monthly stipend to develop a blockchain gaming concept, such as a DeFi or GameFi concept, a game primitive, or an entire game. And the inspiration can come from themselves or from one of our core contributors. It can be developed from scratch or can utilize the primitives that we are building at Matchbox with the help of the community members. And that's the grants program. And what kind of perks can you expect from participating in this program? So what do you get out of it from Matchbox? So you will receive development assistance. We have 3 experienced Cairo backend and frontend developers working full-time with community members to basically help turn the ideas into reality. You will receive guidance from this community of builders. We provide workshops, we provide weekly calls with other Starknet builders to provide technical and conceptual guidance. And the third thing you can expect from Matchbox is that we have this really passionate community, and we will always be excited to test new projects, new stuff, new primitives, and give you feedback on what you're doing and what you're building. And so those are the 3 things you can expect from Matchbox. You get development assistance, you get guidance from a community of builders, including workshops and weekly calls, and you get feedback from this whole community. So if you apply to become a grantee and you pass the requirements, then you will receive $4,000 per month in funding, prorated by the days of work, funded by Matchbox. And it will be a maximum length initially of 6 months, but it can also just be 3 months. And after 3 or 6 months, the grantee has like 2 options that he can decide for. So the first option is that the grantee finishes or basically wants to end the program. The result, like everything that is coded until that point, will become a public good to be used as primitives by other contributors under both the Matchbox GitHub and the Grantee's GitHub accounts. So that's the first option. And we also have a second option, and that is if the grantee builds a marketable product, or at least a prototype that we can continue to work on, then Matchbox DAO will claim the right to invest in this project with a given cap. So these are the 2 options. Either it becomes a public good and will be usable by anybody in Matchbox, or Matchbox receives the right to invest into this product and we can continue to develop it. So what are the requirements to become a Matchbox grantee? It would be good if you previously built something on Starknet so we can evaluate you better. And the second requirement is to be approved by the Matchbox Grants Committee. And that's what we're talking about today. And so we have 5 members in the Grants Committee, and that is Yoni, that is me, that is Louis Gutmann from Starkware, who we are very happy to have. Then we have Lois, who is building a racing game on Starknet with Unreal Engine. And the 5th person is Peteris from Yagify, who we are also happy to have as a judge in the Grants Committee. If you want to become a member of the Grants Committee, then you can just DM us and we can discuss if you're a good fit. Of course, if you want to be a Grants Committee, then it would be good if you have like dev experience and you can properly judge projects and the potential. And if someone wants to become a member of the if someone wants to become a grantee of Matchbox, then we have a form to fill out, and then we can discuss. And so, what does it mean to be a grants committee member? Like some of the responsibilities are to attend these weekly calls every Monday, where we discuss potential grantees. And in preparation for these calls, we have this kind of framework of 5 to 10 questions that Lois created for us. And in preparation for these weekly calls, we ask that grants committee members will basically think about these questions and evaluate all the grantee applicants based on these questions. And in the weekly calls, we can then all share our opinion and discuss what is happening. Yeah, and that's basically it. If someone wants to speak, then you can request to speak, and I will invite you on stage. Yeah, I think that's it so far. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Yoni, do you want to say anything?
I think Louis is asking to speak, or
We sent him an invite, but I think somebody invited him to speak, but
no, I mean he's here in the call, and there is a hand sign, so maybe
yeah,
it's because
it's Discord tells me that someone sent him an invite to speak, but he didn't request to speak.
okay.
But if he wants to speak, he's welcome to come on stage. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, so I think another thing maybe to speak about is, okay, so for people that already know what they want to build, it's easy. Like we are gathering every week, deciding who to accept and who not to accept. But there are another type of people that I have no idea, how to accelerate them, is people that want to participate but don't know what they want to work on. So I was thinking maybe we can come up with some kind of mechanism to get them involved in different things, and then like after a few weeks of that involvement, they can come up with a better idea for what they want to do. Or if you have an idea regarding, what should we do with those people, because a lot of talented people don't know what they want to work on. So I think that would be helpful, because we have like almost eight people that are in the queue that want to become a grantees and get involved, but not sure what they want to work on yet.
Yeah, I think definitely that's something you can do to basically maybe provide some sort of internship at Matchbox to have them contribute to different working groups for like a week or so. Maybe try all of them out, and maybe that can inspire them to get a better picture of maybe what kind of project they want to work on, and then to potentially become a grantee or just a contributor. And we have Louis on stage now. Hello?
Hey everyone, sorry about that. I hope you didn't wait for me too long.
No, it's all good.
So, you want me to say something?
Sure, if you want to say anything, then you're welcome to.
No, nice to see you all guys. I know a lot of faces here. So maybe their kid, I don't know. And just Fred also, I don't know.
Yeah, Dirkit is working on the Solve to Win stuff with Guilty. And he's also helping out, like, whenever we need something on the dev side, then Dirkit is kind of the guy to go to.
Actually, Louis, like, would love to hear from your experience as the, like basically you gave the grants to almost everyone in Stucknet. So what is the kind of some of your principles regarding how do you judge
Granted.
people, how do you judge projects?
It's a very good question. In the TLDR is so I think the mode of grant giving for Matchbox is a bit different from the one in Starknet, in the sense that I'm optimized. I mean, the budget is. I mean, the budget is different, basically different. I'm optimizing for machine learning, it's I would need Gyoza's help here. It's recall versus precision. I'm optimizing for a high precision, meaning if I have a positive, I don't want to miss out on positive, meaning I rather lose money, like give grant to people that actually might not deliver in the end if I have a doubt, rather than just holding off. But I guess the most important thing I think from my perspective is that if you want people to get involved, the grant process needs to be very fast and like small, not a lot of money, but very fast. And then you can sort of just establish a relationship and get the relationship going between the person and the DAO, I guess, in our context. So to steer the R, small grants, small, like low signal, like if the guy showed up and showed something interesting, it's enough, but can give answer, like give basically instant grant. And ideally, in that very time consuming is people should not apply. I think application is doesn't optimize for the right people.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think I agree that the application process should be like as short and as straightforward as can possibly be, because otherwise people might not even bother just applying.
But that's the thing. I think you shouldn't even have application. I think application can bring some cases people like paper pusher rather than people who actually build. I think it's better to just sort of push out cool and exciting project for people to build and just have them showed up rather than say, here, I have the money.
But, okay, so when I'm saying application, I don't mean that they necessarily needs to be created along paper, but just to indicate that they want to build something specific. Because if they don't know what they want to build, then what they will do. So
that's a very good question. That's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm rewarding people who just show up. We are rewarding people who just show up, basically, meaning that come, like ask question on Discord, say, oh, this would be cool. This is enough for me to trigger a call, basically.
Oh, interesting. So even if they don't have anything to work on in the beginning,
I find them something to work on.
Okay, nice. Cool. Okay, so we can basically follow this process for the people that doesn't have an idea, like to just start funding them if they are serious as people, and then like to find them.
Yeah, but they need to show interest, and you start working on random shit by themselves, basically asking questions, being there. I think Gyoza wants to talk, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I've invited him. He just has to accept.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Listen. I came from back in 2018, 2019. I'm traumatized by the experience, by the way. I tried to apply to Ethereum Foundation grant, and this is like everything that I don't want to do. Pushing people to apply is a bit humiliating in many sense. When showing people, reaching out to people who are interested and, say, just giving a pat on the back, like telling you, dude, you're cool, can we work together, is a lot more rewarding for anyone involved. My opinion.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Oh
no. We couldn't hear you very guilty, but I think you were very quiet. But generally, I think I agree with Luz. Like, it should really be as quick as possible, and I think people should just have to like indicate, hey, I have this cool idea, and then we come up to them and say, hey, we will fund you. Just show up and build it, and then that's it.
But it's not even it's not even a cool idea. That they don't even should say something. Is that if they are trying to get interested, we should just get on a call with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't. For instance, like I've been reaching out to half a day to people who just ask a random question on the Discord. If the question looks like advanced enough, like oh, my signer doesn't work for this React thingy. This is like, tell me that the guy has been working.
Yeah, like very aggressive, like reach out and
Exactly,
yeah,
very aggressive reach out.
yeah.
And I mean, like you basically tell him, dude, like let's work, let's work. I mean, you're cool. Like just it's super validating for anyone. I mean, Amitel here, I guess, would be aware. I mean, it's been what I've been doing, and it's been, I think, quite successful. And the follow, I mean, and people are just much more happy because they didn't expect it. They didn't just, it wasn't like the burden of thinking about it. Like it's just that, oh, I did something cool and people noticed, you know, or I asked something and people noticed. That's just I exist kind of thinking. Very deep, it goes very deep. Sorry, again.
Okay. I was just testing my microphone. Sorry.
Mm.
Well, a third model will be the Black Scholes bounty, right? Between Layer and you. What do you think?
That's a very good one. Yeah, these kind of contexts are very cool too, because actually the funny thing about this is that I think you should reward anyone quickly enough. I mean, there is the bounty itself, which is one thing, but everyone who get involved, who actually put the work with a significant or interesting thing they did, should deserve to be potentially granted afterwards, despite independently of the contest itself. They're not exclusive. Even the hackathon shouldn't be exclusive. Like if you were to make a hackathon, for instance, which is I think is a great idea. Like we were actually having this debate lately here, which is there was those people showing up in the Discord because of the Uncode hackathon for Startup. And the question was like, oh, I just discovered after talking to them that they were involved in the hackathon. It was like, should I grant them or not? And we came to the conclusion that we shouldn't wait. If they ask good questions, we shouldn't wait. So I think what you're offering, like, the bounty, the hackathon, people needs to show interest before getting grant, but they should not apply for grant. That's really, really what I think is like core to the success of the good grant program.
Okay, so how do we reconcile this with the idea of being a DAO and like giving people the right to have a say in decisions? Like, do you understand what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. So decisions should be made in transparency, and maybe some like some people documenting, but we like small grants should be done without process. Someone should be trusted for a specific certain amount by the DAO and judge on result afterwards. It's a very, I mean, it's not like a bulletproof system, obviously. It's very trust based, but if you bring transparency and why you reached out to that person and to the mix, to the group of people who kind of are decision maker, I think you can make it work even in a transparent environment. The only problem that if you're too transparent, you also make it very easy to game the system by having people coming up. And I mean, to be fair, for the kind of amount we're talking about, let's say 10K, no one, like any gamer, anyone wants to get, I mean, no one with like true ability to social engineering stuff is going to care for 10K. If they want to do, they would do for more.
Right. Maybe we can kind of borrow from the system of representative democracy and just let the DAO people vote on like 2 or 3 people at max who are like dedicated to giving out grants in the fastest way possible to really make it faster.
I mean, you just allocate a budget for, let's say, per week or per month, and they need to report, and they need to, I mean, they don't need to, they should spend it and have a reporting retrospectively about what they did.
Yeah, that's also the guy from Shard Labs told me yesterday that this is yeah, I completely agree. Like to give, let's say, want to give overall like 100 grants, like $1 million in the coming year, then we can split, like 100K for a few people for the next 6 months, and then like let them. The ability to do it without asking anyone. That's much faster than bureaucracy.
I just want to jump in quickly, and great, my microphone is working. So I think that I agree with Billy. jumping straight to my idea, I think that we can have a growing list of things that are interesting or important to work on, or both. And the funny thing here is we can actually write, so these are Cairo projects, so we can write PyTest, just write the PyTest. And with a minimal set of unit tests that, if you want to join Matchbox style work on this primitive, you have to write a minimal Cairo contract that has the PyTest, basically that's it. And I can give two ideas now. One is a matchmaking engine. I don't know if anyone's working on it, but I feel like a lot of the projects that have started or started in the past requires a matchmaking engine up front. And so I think it's a good thing to refactor out and just build it as primitive. And it can be a very simple thing, right? So for the next XL2 blocks, I allow an arbitrary address to sign up. After that, I lock it up, and then I distribute them to batches and I send them to servers. That's just what matchmaking engine works. So that's number one. Number two, I think, will be a pathfinding algorithm, right? So I can give you a 2D grid. I'll give you start and destination, and you're supposed to return me a path linking the 2 points. And I can specify in the grid system there are certain grids that you shall not pass, right? There are obstacles, there are mountains, whatever application it is, but there are certain coordinates that your path should not pass over. And you can also generalize that to 3D. And there are just many things here that can be implemented in Cairo, and our effort can be fairly small. We just write the PyTest. Now that tests sort of the basics of a good submission. And once people come in, I think this is sort of a balance between asking people to apply, doing no work up front, versus waiting for people to do super interesting work and then trying to grab their attention away from Starkware's attention. I think Starkware is also giving out grants, and so I think there's a talent graph here. Yeah, but I think this approach in the middle is like writing some minimal PyTest to gate people's submission. If that makes sense.
I think that's a great idea. Basically, create a list of interesting things that we know could be great projects, and then add like this element of having them write like very simple Cairo contracts to basically prove themselves or something like that, and then aggressively reach out to people and accept them and give them grants.
Yeah, I think that's a super good idea. Super good idea. The matchmaking one, we already were talking about this with Lancelot like 3 or 4 months ago. So I'd be down to brainstorm on that one too. Great idea.
Okay, so let's try to adopt this strategy, and then we need to have like kind of a discussion about who decides to actually give out the grants. Like, who do we trust with that? And I think so far it's basically been Yoni all the time who brokered the deals and gave out the grants. If Yoni is happy continuing to do that, then I would have no objections because he's clearly doing a pretty good job. And I'm glad to help with like aggressive outreach. I've actually already reached out to a lot of people who are building interesting stuff. For example, the guy that built the brick walk-around simulator in Unity. I've reached out to him. I haven't gotten any response yet, but I love reaching out to people and tell them about the exciting stuff we're doing. So yeah, if you have any thoughts, give it to me.
I'm down to also give others, maybe we can split the budget. Decide like. In general, I was thinking that $1 million in general in the next year, and 100, to make Matchbox into a library of Alexandria of like 100 products until the end of the year should be a good goal. And then for that we need $1 million, and then to basically give the ability for others that are already in touch with a lot of builders the ability to give some of that. So I'm definitely open, maybe Solness, maybe Sean, maybe Guilty Gyoza, that is already speaking with a lot of builders naturally. So yeah, I'm definitely open to extend.
I would advise, so it is a responsibility to give money away. And I guess you know that, right?
Yes.
It is so. It took me a long time, and actually, I had to get as validation multiple time to Uri. Like, can I do that? Can I do that? Because sometimes you're like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just the guy I've talked to the guy 10 minutes, and now he's like, I just give him money, and you're confused, and you're like, okay, whatever. So, like, there should be more, like, in my opinion, like a more concentrated group of people, like Yoni, maybe Tractimus, sort of the core center, and having other sort of member of the DAO and the group redirect them to them.
Yeah, that's what we thought the committee should be, but then
Right.
we felt like we don't want it to be too slow, so maybe
Too slow for me just mean it doesn't have to be instant. Like too slow just mean that you have like multiple step and going through committee and writing document and stuff. That's what I meant by
okay.
slow.
It could be just a committee, like 1 week to
No, not
decide.
a committee. No, not even a committee. Just a group of people. Yoni, Swactimus, and someone else maybe. And Sean, if wants to get, if thinks someone deserves a grant, will just send to any one of the over three of you, and the first one to be available would be basically getting on the call and see if the person is eligible. I would give that I mean, I would keep it relatively central, not because those people should have the power, more because it is responsibility. And if, like Sean, Sean, let's say Sean, I'm just bringing Sean because here, right? Just invite, give a grant to three people, and those three people don't deliver. It
Yes.
might be, sorry.
Yeah, it is responsibility, and it's not easy to give one people responsibility. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. When if you have three people, my meetings last 15 minutes, and they are extremely efficient. I mean, it's exhausting sometimes, but the point is, it's if you group it around, like if you have a calendar with three people in it, like I don't know who the third person would be, but it would be, and like they just report to each other why they did it and to who, then it would make it relatively transparent, easy to report on it, and still flexible enough to be fast. That's
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree with this. I like the concept. I mean, it's basically how we handled it so far, right? It's basically me reaching out to people, Yoni reaching out to people, and then Yoni giving out the grants to people that we deem to be good.
It could be you too. Like if you have this expertise of already talking to those young, energetic devs, then that you don't really need to go through Uni all the time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. Thank you for the advice. It's been very helpful, actually.
I mean, my bottom line is that keep it simple. Really, I mean, the temptation I have with DAO and with democracy in general is to create bureaucracy for create thinking it would create fairness. It doesn't. It's actually there is like this very famous book by like this guide to disrupt like committees in by the CIA. I don't remember if you know what I'm talking about, where they say make commit
Not
like
in the middle, right?
what? No. It's like a book, like a CIA book to disrupt communist and it was to disrupt communist organization. And was to sort of infiltrate them and basically turn them into ridiculous bureaucracy to present fairness. I don't know if people know what I'm talking about. If you have the book or the reference, would be fun.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Huh?
I've heard of it, yeah.
CIA disrupt. I'm sure I'm gonna find it. Disruption manual. I think the CIA how to about your workplace. It's a very funny. How to organization productivity. Let me send it to you. Where can I send it? Is there a chat I can send it to?
You can just put it in general chat. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, here it is. That's just like a random first one I found, right? Happens. So this like if you want to think about this, just take the opposite of what the CIA would recommend to break things.
Okay. Yeah, I think keep it simple is very good advice, and let's try to adopt this mindset. I think that would be for the best.
Yeah. And another thing that I really like that Guilty says is to get like an ongoing document that everyone could contribute to with people, recommended people that we didn't approach to yet, and basically ideas that people want to create, because currently we only have ideas that people are working on, but like for example, Louis created a notion with ideas that needs to be done. So I think that can be very very cool, like an up for grabs list of things.
Yeah, just to have a list where people can contribute like very generally just ideas that could be interesting and cool projects, and like just create a list of it that we can share with people, and then just reach out to people that we might know who are building in Starknet, or are developers who know Cairo who maybe don't have a project right now, and aggressively reach out to them with this list of ideas.
Hello? Right. So I think that from the developer's perspective, that developers already in Matchbox have a mental model that I have is that I can write my entire game contract and I can implement some challenging functions with very naive implementation. And I can isolate that function out and put it up as a problem that might be of interest for new people coming into Matchbox how to solve it. To say, I have this function that takes 100,000 steps. I'm looking for implementation that can take less than 50,000 steps. And I already have the unit test that tests it. It's up for grab, and I will open source my own implementation. It's great. So from Matchbox perspective, our functions will get implemented and optimized by newcomers. If that makes sense. And also another idea would be if 10K sounds like too much of a responsibility, we would chop that up into 136, where 1K, meaning any one of the portfolios don't need any of the code, you just give it away. You put your name in the list somewhere. And the 3K requires a weekly meeting to decide if follow up or not.
Actually, that's a good point. You could split even the 10K is what I had in mind for Starkware, but we also have a very very large budget when it comes to this. Like as I don't really have a budget at this point. I mean, it's a joke, but you get the point. I guess 5K could be like also a good target for Matchbox, and maybe that's easier to give grant. But the question is, I think it's easier when it's centralized rather than like a few people that are reliable, like they are responsible and all responsibility when it comes to the outcome.
Do you think it makes more sense to give out like 1K or 5K, or like just a lump sum, like a one-time grant, or to give like a monthly?
Monthly is the grid depend on you guys. I guess the point is what the project is about. If the project is building infrastructure for the entire community, then and on an ongoing basis, that could be like on ongoing basis is better, right? But if it's more like to sort of capture a young student of 19 years old student who is fascinated by this game, and you're like, dude, just what, like let me help you bring it to market, and just makes it bringing him closer to you by giving like a one-time grant. I think that's also both options are just as valid. They just depend on the use case, I would say.
So the logic was to give but the logic behind the monthly payments was to give someone the like a minimal security that he needs in order to work on a project that he likes to work on. And then like in terms of what is the project is about is we found that every project is both an application and could be used in an infrastructure for something. So for example, Guilty Gyoza, Solve to Mint can be used as a game. Like different kind of puzzles, but can also be used as a onboarding mechanism for another game, and also for the procedural word generation and another. So the only condition for every grant is that they will deliver what they want to deliver, and then this can then be used for either their own startup, if a future startup out of that, or to be used by others that want to create things faster to accelerate their game.
So I think it's a very good point, the ongoing grant. I would then just be aware of you shouldn't build the infrastructure. I mean, use an infrastructure that enable you to have it with a very low sort of like bureaucratic overhead. I mean that it's like if you can automatize the way the grant is paid, like using Sablier or Superfluid, whatever you're going to use. I'm just thinking that you need to have a way that when you do the grant, you don't have to think about the payment anymore because no one in Matchbox wants to handle the logistic of managing such a grant, right? And so you could have like maybe actually a cool tool actually would be a grant manager would be like a super Sablier like system where instantly that give you a reporting of who started who and what they're working on, and kind of give that directly from you can export it directly from the chain, for example. Actually quite cool, but that's just a random idea. And just being careful that we actually had this topic internally at Starkware when we were at some point we were splitting the grant in two versus doing in one, and we realized that the overhead that was creating for Ran, the CFO, was not worth it, and we just say, you know what, let's go for just one-time shot. It's easier for us, and at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything in terms of success of the grantee. So
Nice.
be careful about build the right infrastructure, use the right infrastructure to handle those ongoing payments because you don't want to manage it on the daily basis, on a monthly basis.
Just want to jump in quickly. I completely second Louis' comment. I think we all are very well aware that a vast majority of decentralized autonomous organizations are not autonomous. And I think that we can do it differently. We can at least strive to do it differently here. And that basically comes down to minimizing bureaucracy. We can start slow. I personally favor formal systems more than anything else. And so I have this idea that we can have a list of unit tests, basically waiting for people to submit contracts to plug into and basically pass all the tests. And when they pass the test, they get automatic payments, tiny payments, just like an entrance ticket. But I think it takes time to build formal systems that are hard to be gamed. But also coming back to Louis' point, if someone can game that system, he's well overqualified and probably not interested in Matchbox style, just want to ruin it. So I think, just long story short, I think I'm very interested in formal systems, and I think self-commit is a framework that eventually can enable such systems, not just for us, but for just as a DAO tooling, just for the ecosystem at large. But I think in the short term, we should strive to do things in a more autonomous way. That's DAO shit.
Yeah. Sorry to jump in randomly. Basically, I'm part of the Lego DAO, which is Lidas DAO, and they have a pretty good approach to this stuff. And I agree. Basically, we started this approach with one-time grants because everything else creates overhead, and it can be based on milestones. So you don't have to give money for free, but okay, you need to deliver this and this to the ecosystem. It has to be open source, permission, and so on, permissionless. And that way, basically, you can subsidize these new folks, but don't. I wouldn't say that it's salary or something like that because it's support initially for the product, but it's not paying them to do this. And also targeting this to be market fit, so that product has a market fit would be great, and to talk to them about that. Yeah, sorry to jumping in just like that. Just want to share my 5 cents.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Louis.
Can I say, sorry, can I say something about Gyoda? Actually, funny that you are looking to formalize system. I'm actually more in favor of unformalized system in many sense because they are not gameable in the same way. Because they are not I do understand where you're coming from with this, and I respect that. I just feel that the amount of work at this level of at such an early stage to make a formalized organization might be a way overkill compared to just say, let's run it in a non-formal fashion for now until we sort of show success, and then we can start formalizing and making it more stringent to build to build on, I would say. So just an interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, yeah.
I,
I'm
ju-
sure
I,
some countries needs to have a low blood approach to do this. I think we're already doing this something anymore, so it's going in parallel anyways.
I do like the idea of by the way, it's actually what you describe as the unit test, etc. It's actually how Henri is doing the tutorials. I guess you did them, but it's actually exactly this. They are self-correcting tutorials, and so you could have an onboarding mechanism also, which is sort of self-correcting games or self-correcting thing to see if the person has the right level of knowledge to even get reached out to.
Yeah, I think it's just fun. Yeah, I won't burden Matchbox DAO's limited resource on this. I'll basically pursue that.
I think that's something that the Matchbox could actually pursue. I think it would be if you can manage to break, you know, filtering through a gamified mechanism, which we're actually trying to. We might be starting to try at some point when we got enough content from with Henri's and Lucas and Ben. I mean, so like it could be an interesting path to seek for bringing in passionate, interesting people into the DAO.
Yeah, actually, one idea that we'll start to incorporate very soon when we launch the Solve to Mint first version, it's basically to give people that solved this Solve to Mint like a solver NFT, and then also to give people that shipped code a ship NFT, and then like for different type of proof of work, people will get different type of NFTs, which will be entitlement for future things, but of future access and stuff like that. So on that way, like Matchbox could be like a whole, like a big game in a way.
Well, I think if the bottleneck here is a queue of 8 people lining up at Matchbox DAO, wanting to do something but don't know what to do, I think people already in the DAO, especially the developers, must have a lot of ideas. And I myself have a backlog of ideas that I have no time to pursue. So we can all just share those ideas, and those people can have some inspirations, keep them busy.
Yeah, I am all about that. Let's create a document and collect all these ideas, and then we can aggressively reach out to people that we know are talented but don't know what to work on, and try to get them on board. I think that's going to work out pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is piggybacking on Luis's approach. The list of things to work on for the stagnant ecosystem. Yeah.
And from what Edie said from Shortlabs, we can also like implement basically milestone deliverables, right? If we want to do it, to basically to have like some kind of assurance that people actually do the work, and we don't stand there like 3 months later and the grantee hasn't done anything.
Yeah, like this isn't basically salary. This is just initial support. So don't look at it like that. So just that on that front. Like from previous experience from Lego DAO and others, like it's usually you will get bounty hunters through time if you just give money like that. So that's not what you actually need. So yeah.
Okay, we have Verde who wants to say something.
Hello. Okay.
Hi.
So one question I have. So the point of the recurring grant payments is to support people who are going to later build like sustainable applications. I mean like a company or something.
Not necessarily a company, but something that is working as a proof of concept, and then could be used for that purpose, or could be used as a piece of another game. But definitely needs to be working. Doesn't need to be a company, but needs to be working as a product.
Okay, yeah. I understand. Yeah, I was asking because the kind of projects that I am mostly interested in building, they will mostly be like public goods in a way, like maybe tools, like composable tools, so that other games and projects can use them.
That's great also. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. That's also great.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to know that. Thanks.
Okay, so if anybody wants to say anything, now's your chance. Otherwise, I will wrap up this call, and we can have like continued discussion in the chat and see how we, how we structure it then. Okay, Guilty wants to say something again.
Sorry, me again. I think that some of the things that this ecosystem needs, the way I read this is that it's not exactly having more people writing Pyro. I appreciate that underlying Pyro is it's not any your favorite tape. I see a lot and plenty of Pyro text completely unaware of there's a execution trace down there. And what you're writing is actually not software programming. You're writing constraints that are sugar-coated as software. And I think that following that logic, we can also welcome people that write very friendly tutorials explaining what Cairo really is, not just your another software programming language, etc. That's good for onboarding future devs.
Yeah, that's definitely something that goes more into like the content writing stuff, where we also have people that take care of that. I think Magic is basically trying to start this subdivision of content writers. Yeah, definitely. Like Matchbox is not just about developers; it's also about people that write content, that educate people, that discuss things publicly to get the word out. For sure, that's definitely a part of Matchbox as well. All right, then I'll wrap up this call unless someone wants to say something right now. So thank you all for attending, and thank you, Louis, for your great ideas and feedback, and everybody else that gave us feedback. And we'll try to design this whole process under the like keep it simple motto. Yeah. All right. Thank you all, and see you. Bye bye.